Hello, we are Group 2, Brighton Consulting, proposing to Human Rights International how we should be their choice for conducting the Middle East North Africa Region Growth Survey of 2012. First, with some background. Human Rights International's mission is to undertake research and action focused on preventing and ending grave abuses of the rights to physical and mental integrity, freedom of conscience and expression, and freedom from discrimination, all within the context of its work to promote all human rights. The organization has a vision of a world where every person enjoys all the human rights enshrined, including following all international human rights standards. The HRI seeks research to guide their expansion in the Middle East North Africa region and growing their Arabic voice. Research should provide a context which they can grow and also address the approach and techniques required to maximize such growth and also outline potential risks to avoid or address. Now, research goals. The HRI's growth strategy for the Middle East North Africa region is targeting youth. These youth are aged 16 to 25, using e-communications and media as the means to grow and spur the human rights movement. The nature of this research will explore the Middle East North Africa's youth's view of human rights, particularly what makes human rights relevant to the youth in this region. What are the research objectives? Well, the quantitative and qualitative research will explore what makes human rights issues relevant and what actions would mobilize youth in the Middle East North Africa region the most. The research seeks to uncover where in this region youth are most interested in human rights and what campaign tactics most resonate with youth in this area. E-communications, letter writing, lobbying, human rights education. And additionally, the study seeks to find how to best communicate with youth to grow the movement in the Middle East North Africa region. Email, internet, SMS, social networks. What media, if any, do they watch or consume? Our approach. First, with qualitative research, it will be done through focus groups. Quantitative research will be conducted using an online survey questionnaire. Also, random digit dialing is also recommended for the quantitative research portion to ensure all areas of the Middle East North Africa region, including those with low internet access, are represented. This is optional. It would include an additional cost. With using secondary research, we're using reports conducted by the Human Rights International and a study on 18 to 29-year-old employment and activism in this particular region from the World Bank. This is a chart here of all the countries involved in the Middle East North Africa region, their population, how many people use landline phones, mobile phones, and have internet access. As you can see, there is an extremely higher number of people with mobile phones. Considerations with this research. Because of the HRI's values, it's imperative that the survey results not be used for any political campaign or political cause. This is because they're independent of any government, political ideology, economic interest, or religion. They're concerned solely with the impartial protection of human rights. Also, they're a global organization, so the research must be culturally appropriate. There is a level of distrust in this region as it relates to people fearing that the government oversees all of their daily interactions. This includes that response rates may reflect respondents' lack of trust. They also may feel hesitant to releasing certain information over the internet because they may feel they're constantly monitored. And there's the risk of socially acceptable answers given in focus groups that are gender mixed that must be taken into consideration. Dividing groups by gender will help alleviate part of this issue, but building trust with the interviewer is necessary for setting the tone in the focus groups. Now, justification for qualitative versus quantitative data approaches. First, with focus groups, we'll be allowing the HRA to gain a basic understanding of a small youth sample's view of human rights, what will spur their involvement, and how to best engage youth in mobilization in the region. HRI will be able to apply these findings to their growth strategy. We'll be mentioning focus groups later in the presentation. The online questionnaire and the random digit dialing allows for a sample of the entire Middle East North Africa region and a chance to gain additional demographics and explore youth interests in a more generalized manner. Our sampling strategy for online and random digit dialing is that research will focus on the HRI's requested target population, which again is youth at 16 to 25 years old. Gender balance is imperative, so the study will include the full involvement of women. Our online questionnaires will sample the entire region with internet access, 40 to 45 respondents per country with a total sample size of 750, giving a 3.6% margin of error. Systematic online sample will be used for the online questionnaire due to the large region and budget constraints. And random digit dialing is recommended for additional countries for half of the Middle East North Africa region countries, with a total sample size of 1,000, 100 to 110 per country, with a 3.1% margin of error. These are the countries that will be targeted for random digit dialing because of the fact that they do have a low internet access rate as well as their population. In ensuring randomization, the caller will ask to speak with the youngest in each home. The interviewer will verify that the respondent falls into the youth demographic by asking for age, and using random digit dialing, we will generate cell numbers as easily as landlines. The interviewer, tells the respondent in the first greeting the length of the survey, and by doing this, you're maintaining interest for mobile phone respondents because people on these phones are concerned about their cellular minute costs. In the structure for the online random digit dialing questionnaire, it's important that the survey will be clear, concise, and translated correctly in Arabic. The questionnaire is not going to be any longer than 10 minutes in length, and it will be tested to ensure cultural sensitivity and appropriate translation. And the questions are going to be structured, and all but one question will be close-ended. All questions will be closed-ended with the open-ended question added at the end to make sure all their data is completed. And a majority of the questions will follow the Likert response scale. A few questions regarding demographics will be dichotomous questions. A few questions will use the Gutman scaling. The questionnaire is going to start with the respondent's age in both approaches, followed by a lead-in and warm-up question. And additional information for random digit dialing. Demographic questions except for age will be asked at the end of the survey. Interviewers will follow questionnaire exactly in, as earlier mentioned, during the introduction, give approximate survey length of 10 minutes, and the interviewers will be native, younger Arabic speakers, friendly, and able to build rapport and trusting worthy relationship with the respondent. Our research goals in regards to conceptual framework. This involves studying the ways in which Human Rights International can increase its presence and Arab voice in the Middle East North Africa region. The HRI's growth strategy targets 16 to 25-year-olds here through e-communications and new technology. So, research objectives, exploring what makes human rights issues relevant and what actions would best mobilize Middle East North Africa youth. Uncover where in the region Middle East North Africa youth are most concerned about human rights, and how to best communicate with the youth to grow movement in the Middle East North Africa region. Our obstacles are tolerance and ethical considerations. For example, we will have native speakers asking questions in native tones and accents to avoid confusion with dialects. Gender separation, so men will be asking questions to men, women asking questions to women, and younger interviewers conducting the random digit dialing, adhering to ethical guidelines as well. For security and stability, respondents might be unwilling to share their opinions in fear of being punished. To remedy this, during the implementation stage, we recommend developing trust with respondents, ensuring them that their responses will not be shared. And due to low internet penetration, this is remedied via inclusion of random digit dialing in the study. The survey will be sent out regionally, whereas the random digit dialing will be conducted in countries with low internet penetration. Again, we have figured out how to handle low internet penetration and implementing random digit dialing surveys in countries with such low levels of internet. And the HRI will be able to overcome these obstacles um, involving low penetration of internet and online access. So the online surveys will be used in countries that have such a high rate, and that's demonstrated on here on our framework. And the arrows listed on this conceptual framework, they all explain the relationships between our goals. Growth in the Middle East North Africa region, our approaches to conducting research, and our obstacles to research and variables. Now, when it comes to our project timeline and schedule, we're giving ourselves 5 months from March to July of 2012. This includes administering the survey as well as analysis of the data. So the data collection and compilation will be from March through May, and the data analysis and reporting will be completed June through July of 2012. With our analytical framework, the objective of our research is to provide HRI with a strategy for increasing the youth population in the Middle East North Africa region. To answer the question, what factors would contribute to population increases in the region? Here we will demonstrate the relationship between HRI's objectives and how we intend to accomplish the research objectives by way of random digit dialing, internet surveys, focus groups, social media, and studying each country in the Middle East North Africa region. Here's the chart that I'll allude to in the next few slides. The middle of the chart represents the Middle East North Africa region as the location of our research. Thus, the arrow to HRI's project in the center. Our important questions are linked to the bottom right. And to help define our sectors, we have determined on the right that there are countries that will not have internet access and will therefore have random digit dialing for survey research. Focus groups, as explained on the right, will be used for qualitative data after random digit dialing and internet research is collected. Random digit dialing and internet research is seen here. The questions on the bottom right. The objectives of the HRI's research from the study is seen on the left. The strong presence of youth, especially through internet and social media, emphasizes how youth with new media allows answers for HRI objectives. And basically, in conclusion, reaching objectives is seen in the link to the questions on the bottom right. So here are the ideas on the left, followed by answering questions on the bottom right. And with our focus group structure, we will again be having gender-divided groups using semi-structured interview techniques. It's imperative that the interviewer will build a sense of trust with the group of respondents and not provide any leading information. So it is important for the interviewer to remain neutral and not provide their own opinion, comments, or expressions to answers. They will be trained and professional interviewers who are native speakers of the Arabic language. The male interviewers will speak to the male groups, the female interviewers speaking to the female groups. Their sampling strategy for focus groups. Basically, 4 focus groups will be conducted throughout the Middle East and North Africa region in Egypt, Israel, Morocco, and Saudi Arabia, ensuring that these 4 countries help fairly spread throughout the Middle East and North Africa region for our study. And the groups will be gender balanced. Each of the 4 groups will be made up of 5 women and 5 men. Each gender group will meet separately to ensure there are not issues with socially desirable answers when men and women are questioned in the same room. So the first interviewer will need to gain entry with this group, and the next interviewer will be the one who provides the introduction to the group and explains the questions. The interviewer will follow a developed questionnaire, and this will involve using an informal tone and being conversational. The questions will be open-ended and allow for clarification when appropriate, and the questions must not be leading or biased for or against any human rights. This includes exploring ideas of what human rights means to any individuals, first as a warm-up, and then involving exploring what makes the youth get involved or mobilized, and some time for interactive questions around HRI's website at the end of the interview. And interviewers use techniques to gain adequate answers, including probing, asking for clarification of answers, and repetition. When it comes to the reporting format for all the survey research, once the data is collected and analyzed, written reports will be created that will present our findings. These reports will contain written analysis and data charts that will show the findings from the respondents of our various surveys. And our data analysis methods, for example, include a cluster analysis. This is going to help break down respondents' answers by demographics. And what's really helpful about using this data is to find possible correlations between respondents' answers and their demographics, including religious background. And with our project budget, we have $70,000. So with phone interviews, respondents will be compensated at $5 per respondent. The group will look to receive 2,200 responses by phone. These will again be done using random digit dialing. And with web interviews, web respondents will receive $5. The group will look to receive 2,200 by web. And with focus groups, there will be 4 focus groups of 6 to 8 people per group at an estimated cost of $5,000 per group. So with interviewers, 5 interviewers will be hired, 1 for each country that we look to gain responses. And the interviews will be compensated at an hourly wage of $5 per hour, and interviewers will work weekday shifts from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Translation costs at 25 cents per word. The estimated cost of translation will be $8 per respondent, roughly. With office supplies and equipment, this is just to include paper, pens, computers, and other office supplies necessary to complete the project. Here they are again. In short, choose Brighton. The members of Group 2, we have over 20 years of combined research experience here at Brighton. We've conducted and developed research proposals for many of the world's leading advocacy organizations, such as Amnesty International, the World Bank, the United Nations, and PEPFAR, to name a few. Just to name a few areas of expertise, they run from water sanitation Bahrain to WMD proliferation in Iran. No other client has more experience in developing social research proposals for multinational organizations and is as highly regarded as Brighton Consulting. We understand the research methods and tools necessary for the Middle East and North Africa region. Most importantly, we know your budget. Thank you.